To see this one, thousands of families in Cleveland living in a sea of abandoned, decaying homes, facing what seems like endless loss.
Loss in property values, a sense of security, and community. But the biggest casualty may be hope. Finding some way to inspire that is the mission of one young filmmaker who's putting the focus on the streets where he grew up.
I remember being in high school, going to sleep, and the sound of gunfire just on different streets. It was a regular background noise, but I guess in recent years it's gotten louder.
Chris Webb left the streets of Glenville behind to pursue a degree at the California Institute of Arts.
I always call myself a storyteller. I love the look in somebody's eyes when you kind of leave them in suspense or throw a twist into something.
Graduating with honors, he fielded offers for commercials and television and launched a career as a spoken word performer that's taken him around the world. But stories from the battlefields back home kept tugging at his heart.
The more that I saw the news reports coming out of my neighborhood, the more it changed how and what I have to say to y'all.
And it changed his aspirations. He came home.
So this is the street that I grew up in.
Recently awarded a $15,000 grant as a Creative Workforce Fellow in Cleveland, Chris is making a movie called If These Walls Could Talk, using animation and live action to bring a dying neighborhood and its history back to life.
We've been here for 100 years. All I know is that people see nothing and think they come from nothing. But that's not true.
These streets and these sidewalks carry much more than just bad stories. I realized that there was a legacy of greatness here. And if I would have knew that at 16 years old, if I would have knew that at 14 years old, I would have known that I stood on more than just abandoned buildings, poverty, drugs, guns, gangs, and violence. I know that there's potential here. I know that there's beauty here. I know that there are dreams and goals and potential and so many different things that's represented in these streets.
It's a way of seeing he believes his community is starving for. Chris says his movie is really a love letter to his neighborhood, a place his mom and dad still call home.
If this neighborhood is a boat and violence is making it sink, of course your first reaction would be to get everybody that you know off of that boat. But I think that it'll be a more powerful move to go and actually patch that boat up so that it's not sinking anymore, so that everybody's mom and dad will feel just a little bit safer.
A movie won't patch up these houses that need to be torn down. But the way Chris Webb is reaching out to young minds and hearts may help build something new inside them.
We should take pride in who we are. We should take pride in where we come from. And we should begin to foster love and a sense of community in the places that we live in right now, because the future deserves it.
Chris says his film, If These Walls Could Talk, is expected to be ready for release next spring. Meanwhile, the Creative Workforce Fellows grant program is currently in limbo. Cuyahoga Arts and Culture, which manages money designated for the arts from taxes, is reevaluating how grants are distributed. Individual artist grants had been administered by the Community Partnership for Arts and Culture for the last 8 years, benefiting more than 160 local artists.